"Take a nice walk," my husband James called out mockingly from the driver's seat, his family laughing along with him. I stood there in disbelief, one hand on my 8-month pregnant belly, as their luxury SUV pulled away from the remote gas station. The blazing Florida sun beat down as I watched their taillights disappear, headed toward their beach resort vacation without me. My name is Kayla Thompson, and until that moment, I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. But watching my husband of 3 years abandon his pregnant wife at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, that was a whole new level of cruelty. His mother Diana and sister Ashley were in the back seat, and I could still see their smirking faces as they drove off. It had started as a normal bathroom break during our road trip to Daytona Beach. I'd asked James to wait while I used the restroom, as walking was becoming increasingly difficult in my 3rd trimester. When I came out, I saw them all laughing and pointing at me through the car windows. Before I could reach the vehicle, they drove away, leaving me stranded in the scorching heat. The gas station owner, Tom, an older gentleman with kind eyes, witnessed the whole thing. He immediately brought me inside the air-conditioned store and offered me a cold drink. "I've got security cameras covering the whole property," he said, his voice tight with anger. "What they did, that's not right." I sat in his small office trying to process what had just happened. My phone was in the car, along with my purse and everything else. I was literally stranded with nothing but the sundress I was wearing. Tom's wife Barbara, who helped run the store, brought me some water and crackers. "I'm calling the local news," Barbara declared, her face flushed with righteous anger. "People need to see this. What kind of man leaves his pregnant wife stranded, and his family laughing about it? This isn't right." I should have felt embarrassed or tried to stop her. Instead, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. Let them call the news. Let everyone see exactly what kind of man James Wilson really was. As I rubbed my swollen belly, feeling my baby girl kick, I knew this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about protecting my daughter from a family that thought cruelty was amusing. Looking back, there had been warning signs about James and his family from the beginning. When we first met at a charity gala 3 years ago, James seemed different from his family, kinder, more genuine. He was a corporate executive at Florida Values Insurance, a company that prided itself on traditional family principles. I was a kindergarten teacher who loved my work with children. We fell in love quickly, and despite his family's subtle disapproval, we got married within a year. Diana, my mother-in-law, ran the prestigious Wilson Family Foundation, which organized high-profile charity events in Jacksonville. She never missed an opportunity to remind me that I didn't quite fit into their social circle. "It's sweet that you work with children," she would say, her voice dripping with condescension, though I always hoped James would marry someone more accomplished. Ashley, James's sister, was even worse. She'd orchestrated countless social situations designed to humiliate me, like the time she invited me to a casual lunch that turned out to be a formal charity board meeting, leaving me mortified in my simple sundress among women in designer suits. "Oh, I must have forgotten to mention the dress code," she'd said with a smirk. But James had always defended me, at least in the beginning. That changed when I got pregnant. It was as if a switch flipped in him. Suddenly, he started agreeing with his mother's criticism, laughing at his sister's cruel jokes, and treating me like I was an embarrassment. Tom's voice brought me back to the present. "The news crew will be here in about an hour," he said, checking his phone. "And I've got the security footage ready. Shows everything clear as day." Barbara handed me another bottle of water. "Your hands are shaking, dear. When was the last time you ate?" I realized I'd missed lunch, caught up in the excitement of the trip that was supposed to be our last vacation before the baby came. James had insisted his family join us, claiming it would be good for family bonding. "I should have known something was wrong when he made me sit in the back seat so his mother could sit up front," I said quietly. "He said it was because she gets carsick, but they were whispering and laughing the whole time." Barbara's face hardened. "Well, they won't be laughing when everyone sees what they did. My nephew works at Channel 7 News. Trust me, this story won't stay quiet." While waiting for the news crew, I borrowed Tom's landline to call my best friend Nicole. She'd never trusted James or his family, especially after what happened at my baby shower last month. "Kayla, thank God you're okay," Nicole answered. "You need to see what they're posting on social media right now." Tom turned his computer monitor toward me, logging into Facebook. There, on James's page, was a series of photos posted just 20 minutes ago. My hands shook as I read the caption. "Finally free for a relaxing family vacation. Some people just can't handle the Wilson lifestyle. Beach life. Family first." The photos showed James, Diana, and Ashley lounging by the resort pool, cocktails in hand, acting like nothing was wrong. Comments from their social circle poured in, all laughing and congratulating them on their escape. "There's more," Nicole said grimly. "Diana's foundation just announced a fundraiser for family values and responsibility next week. The hypocrisy is unreal." Tom's security footage was playing on his other monitor. I watched myself walking out of the bathroom, pregnant, belly prominent, as James's SUV deliberately pulled away. The sound was clear enough to pick up their laughter. "Those aren't people," Barbara muttered, watching the footage. "They're monsters." My phone was still in the car, along with my hospital bag, the bag I'd packed carefully with everything I might need, given how close I was to my due date. The realization hit me hard. They hadn't just abandoned me. They'd deliberately put my baby at risk. A sharp pain shot through my abdomen. Barbara noticed immediately and grabbed my hand. "Honey, are you having contractions?" "Just Braxton Hicks," I assured her, but another pain made me gasp. "At least I think they are." Tom was already on the phone with emergency services. "Better safe than sorry," he said. "The nearest hospital is 40 minutes away." As if on cue, a local news van pulled into the parking lot. The reporter, a woman named Jennifer Parker, took one look at my condition and made an executive decision. "We're getting you to the hospital first," she said firmly. "We can do the interview there. This story isn't just about abandonment anymore. It's about endangering an unborn child." As they helped me into the news van, I saw more media vehicles approaching. Apparently, the story had already caught attention. My hands shook as another contraction hit, this one stronger than before. "The doctors will take good care of you," Jennifer assured me, holding my hand as they drove. "And we'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of people the Wilsons really are." Looking out the window at the gathering media circus, I realized this had become much bigger than just me. Sometimes, the worst moments in our lives lead to unexpected justice. The hospital's maternity ward became an unexpected headquarters for what was quickly turning into a viral news story. My contractions had subsided. False labor brought on by stress, the doctors said, but they wanted to keep me overnight for observation. By evening, the security footage from the gas station had hit every major news outlet in Florida. "Mrs. Wilson," a nurse said, poking her head into my room, "there are more reporters asking to speak with you. Should I send them away?" I was about to answer when my phone lit up. Nicole had brought it to me after retrieving it from the resort where James and his family were staying. A staff member had found it in their room and, after seeing the news, reached out to help. "Kayla, turn on Channel 7 now," Nicole urged, her voice urgent. "They're interviewing Diana at the resort." The nurse helped me find the right channel. There was my mother-in-law, perfectly coiffed in her designer resort wear, trying to spin the story. "This is all a misunderstanding," Diana said smoothly to the reporter. "Kayla has been very emotional lately. Pregnancy hormones, you understand. She asked for some time alone, and we respected her wishes." The reporter wasn't buying it. "We have security footage showing your son and your family laughing as you drove away. Mrs. Thompson had no phone, no purse, and was 8 months pregnant in 95-degree heat. How do you explain that?" Diana's composed facade cracked slightly. "The footage must be misleading. Our family foundation has always stood for traditional values." The feed cut to the security video, showing their SUV pulling away as they laughed. The audio was crystal clear. "Take a nice walk," James's mocking voice rang out. My phone started buzzing with notifications. The Wilson Family Foundation's social media pages were being flooded with outraged comments. Their major donors were publicly withdrawing support. James's company, Florida Values Insurance, was trending on Twitter. "Your story's gone national," Jennifer Parker said, walking into my room with her camera crew. "People are furious. Do you want to make a statement?" I thought about James and his family, probably still lounging by the pool, thinking they were untouchable. I thought about other women who might be trapped in situations with people like them. "Yes," I said, sitting up straighter in the hospital bed. "I want to talk about what happened." The interview was raw and honest. I described how James's behavior had changed during my pregnancy, how his family had orchestrated this vacation to humiliate me. I talked about the baby bag with my medical information that they'd driven away with, showing how little they cared about my child's safety. As I spoke, more messages flooded in. James's colleagues were publicly distancing themselves. His company's CEO had released a statement saying they were deeply concerned about the incident and would be reviewing the situation. "Mrs. Thompson," Jennifer said gently, "your story has struck a nerve. Women across the country are sharing similar experiences of emotional abuse and abandonment. You've started a movement." I placed my hand on my belly, feeling my daughter kick. "I'm not doing this for revenge," I said to the camera. "I'm doing this because no one should have to experience what I did today, and my daughter needs to know that her mother stood up to bullies even when those bullies were family." By morning, the story had exploded beyond anything I could have imagined. Tom, the gas station owner, appeared on a national morning show, sharing how his security cameras had captured not just the abandonment, but a disturbing conversation before I'd come out of the bathroom. "They were planning it," Tom revealed to millions of viewers. The audio picked up the mother-in-law saying, "This will teach her to embarrass our family." They were laughing about leaving a pregnant woman stranded. Who does that? Nicole rushed into my hospital room, her face flushed with news. "Kayla, you need to see this. Someone leaked emails from Diana's foundation." She held up her tablet, showing me internal communications from the Wilson Family Foundation. The emails revealed a calculated campaign to isolate me from James, with Diana explicitly stating that a pregnant kindergarten teacher wasn't Wilson material. But the real bombshell came from Ashley's leaked texts to James. "Once the baby's born, we'll have grounds to claim she's an unfit mother. Your position at Florida Values Insurance and Mom's Foundation connections will make sure we get custody." The revelation hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just about humiliating me. They'd been planning to take my baby. "Mrs. Thompson?" A man in a suit appeared at my door, introducing himself as Michael Roberts, Florida Values Insurance's Chief Ethics Officer. "May I speak with you privately?" After Nicole stepped out, he got straight to the point. "We've terminated James's employment, effective immediately. Our company cannot be associated with someone who would endanger a pregnant woman and deliberately plan to separate a mother from her child." He handed me a folder. "These are screenshots from James's company email, showing he used corporate resources to research custody lawyers specializing in maternal fitness cases. We're turning everything over to your legal team." My hands shook as I read through the documents. James had been laying groundwork for months, documenting every small mistake I made, planning to use my emotional instability against me. "One more thing," Michael added, his expression grave. "Our HR department discovered James has a pattern of workplace harassment. Several female employees have now come forward with complaints they were previously afraid to file. This goes beyond your situation, Mrs. Thompson. You've exposed a systemic problem." As he left, Jennifer Parker returned with breaking news. Diana's largest charity partners were publicly cutting ties with the Wilson Family Foundation. The prestigious country club where they held their social events had revoked their membership. Their carefully constructed world of influence was crumbling. "The resort just asked them to leave," Jennifer reported. "Their guests were complaining about sharing space with those horrible people from the news. They're being escorted out as we speak." My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was from James's assistant at Florida Values Insurance. I saved the dash cam footage from his company car. He and his mother were planning this for weeks. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I looked out my hospital window at the gathering media crews, thinking about how quickly truth can come to light. The Wilsons had planned to destroy me, but their own actions had destroyed themselves instead. The next day brought an unexpected visitor, James's former executive assistant, Amanda, clutching a thick folder and looking nervous. "I can't keep quiet anymore," she said, sinking into the chair beside my hospital bed. "The custody plan? It wasn't just about getting the baby. There's money involved, a lot of it." Amanda spread out documents across my bed, insurance policies, trust fund papers, and financial statements painted a disturbing picture. James and his family had taken out several policies related to my pregnancy, including a substantial life insurance policy I'd never known about. "They were planning to paint you as unstable," Amanda explained, her voice shaking. "The abandonment wasn't just cruelty, it was meant to provoke a stress reaction they could document. If you'd gone into labor at that gas station..." The implications made me feel ill. Nicole, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "We need to get this to the FBI. This isn't just a viral news story anymore. It's attempted insurance fraud." Jennifer Parker arrived just as we were reviewing the documents. "We need to be careful how we handle this," she advised. "The Wilsons still have powerful friends. They're already trying to spin this as a publicity stunt." As if on cue, my phone lit up with a notification. Diana had posted a video statement on the Foundation's website, tears streaming down her perfectly made-up face. "We only wanted to protect our grandchild," she claimed. "Kayla's erratic behavior had us deeply concerned. We never meant..." The video cut off as another call came in, James himself. After conferring with Jennifer and Amanda, I put it on speaker. "Kayla, baby, please," he begged, his voice honey-sweet. "This has all gotten out of hand. Let's talk privately, work things out. Think about our daughter. She needs her father." I thought about the insurance policies, the custody plans, the calculated cruelty. "You're right, James. She does need her father, just not one who would risk her life for a financial scheme." "What are you talking about?" His voice turned sharp. "Be careful what you say, Kayla. Remember who you're dealing with." "No, James. Remember who you dealt with. A kindergarten teacher who knows how to document everything, who has witnesses, security footage, and now your own paper trail, who has the national media watching every move you make." The line went silent for a moment. When he spoke again, the fake sweetness was gone. "You'll regret this. My family..." "Your family is finished," I cut in. "Check your phone. The FBI just announced an investigation into the Foundation's finances. Apparently someone sent them some very interesting documents." Amanda smiled grimly as she hung up her own phone. "The federal agents just arrived at the motel where they're staying," she reported. "The insurance company's fraud division is cooperating fully." I rubbed my belly, feeling my daughter kick strongly. "She's going to grow up knowing her mother stood up to bullies," I said softly. "That's worth more than any trust fund." Jennifer's camera crew captured the moment the FBI led Diana out of the motel in handcuffs, her perfectly crafted image crumbling as she faced the consequences of her actions. Sometimes justice comes in unexpected ways. 1 week later, I sat in my hospital room cradling my newborn daughter Lily, who had decided to make her entrance 2 weeks early, perfectly healthy and beautiful. The TV mounted on the wall played coverage of the Wilson family's downfall. "Breaking news: federal investigators have uncovered a pattern of insurance fraud at the Wilson Family Foundation," the anchor announced. "Sources say the attempted exploitation of a pregnant woman was just the tip of the iceberg." The footage cut to James being led out of his lawyer's office in handcuffs, no longer the polished executive but a desperate man facing federal charges. Diana's foundation was being dissolved, its assets frozen. Ashley's social connections had evaporated overnight. Tom and Barbara from the gas station had sent flowers, along with a note. "Your daughter has a strong mother. That's worth more than any fancy family name." Nicole helped me adjust Lily's blanket as we watched James's company CEO make a statement. Florida Values Insurance is establishing a fund for victims of domestic manipulation and financial abuse. The seed money comes from the bonus we withdrew from James Wilson upon his termination. I looked down at Lily, sleeping peacefully in my arms. She would grow up knowing her mother's strength, not her father's cruelty. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about breaking free and building something better from the ashes. 3 months later, I returned to my kindergarten classroom, greeted by supportive parents and administration that had stood by me throughout the ordeal. On my desk sat a framed newspaper article. Gas station abandonment case leads to new state law. The Thompson Protection Act now made it a felony to deliberately abandon a pregnant woman in dangerous conditions. Diana's crocodile tears at her sentencing hadn't swayed the judge, who cited her calculated cruelty in handing down a 5-year sentence for insurance fraud. James and Ashley faced similar consequences for their roles in the scheme. My story had become a catalyst for change. Florida Values Insurance had hired me as a consultant for their new family protection initiatives. The speaking invitations poured in: women's groups, corporate ethics panels, law enforcement training sessions. But my favorite moments were still in my classroom, teaching my young students about kindness and standing up to bullies. Lily thrived, surrounded by love from my real family: Nicole, who became her godmother, Tom and Barbara, who visited regularly, and the countless strangers who had become allies. The Wilson family's social media accounts stayed silent, their once mighty influence reduced to a cautionary tale. "Remember," I told a reporter who asked about my message to others, "sometimes the worst moments in our lives lead us to our greatest strength." Lily will grow up knowing that her mother didn't just survive, she helped change things for the better.